Hi, I'm Holly from Keto Chow, and this is Chef Taffiny.
Hi.
We're here to make Keto Chow raspberry red velvet cupcakes.
Yes, we are. And this is more of a traditional cake, so it's got a few ingredients, but it makes a very lovely cake. If you want to make a really red velvet cake, you can add red food coloring. If you're happy with a pinkish red velvet cake, you can just use the Keto Chow, and the coloring from that will give it a pinkish hue. And we're just going to start mixing our ingredients together. So with this cake, we're going to mix our wet and our dry ingredients separately, and then mix them together the way you typically do. And then we will just bake them in the oven, and we'll prepare a frosting for them. So we will have a nice red and pink cupcake. I just want to double check here and make sure I've got I've got a cup of almond milk and a little apple cider vinegar. That's going to make my almond milk sort of like buttermilk, which is what would traditionally be in the recipe. And I'm going to add to that a little vanilla, half a teaspoon, I believe, or a teaspoon. And I'm just going to let that set so the vinegar has a chance to work in the almond milk and start to turn it into buttermilk, so to speak. And that will help with the color of the cake and, of course, the rising of the cake. And then in a smaller bowl here, I'm going to mix our dry ingredients together. We have, let's see, the Keto Chow, and this is
1 cup.
1 measure cup of Keto Chow, which is close to 2 scoops, a little over 2 scoops, as I recall.
And almond flour.
And we've got the almond flour.
And the coconut flour.
And the coconut flour.
And then you've got cocoa and baking powder.
And then we've got cocoa and baking powder. I'm just going to break these flours up a little bit with a whisk. Sometimes the almond flour can have some lumps. And then we put in our baking powder, and this is a
Cocoa powder.
a tablespoon of cocoa powder.
Tablespoon, yep.
And that actually is a traditional ingredient in red velvet cake. It gives it a little bit of a color. The cocoa powder reacts with the acid and makes a red color too, and gives it part of the traditional flavor. But of course, ours is going to have raspberry cheesecake flavor from the Keto Chow.
Sounds delicious.
If you have a lot of lumps in your cocoa powder, you can sift it. Mine sat out and got a little lumpy from the humidity, but it's going to be fine when we mix it all together. Okay, so I'm going to set that aside and we'll work on our liquid ingredients. And we're going to start with our 2 eggs.
It says to cream the butter and
Cream butter. Right. I almost forgot my butter.
butter and sweetener.
So I've got a stick or 4 ounces of unsalted butter, and I'm going to start by creaming that. Because Holly reminded me. So.
No, I've never made it before, so I'm attempting to follow the recipe.
Then I am going to mix in our sweetener little by little, so I don't just make it fly all over the place. Yeah, if you have
I didn't want you chasing the bowl around.
Yeah, we don't want to do that. You can always put a towel or a mat under your bowl so it doesn't slip away from you. if you don't have a Holly to help you. And we're just going to whip this until it's nice and light and fluffy. And we're just going to add our eggs one at a time. And now that we have our butter and eggs and sweetener whipped together, we're going to add in stages here. Yeah, we're just going to add half of our dry mixture, then our liquid mixture, then the other half of our dry mixture. That just will help to incorporate it better, make sure it's all mixed together, and make sure we don't get a big puff of dry ingredients when we mix it. That's why I try to bring the speed down on this mixer.
A little more?
Yeah, a little bit. Go ahead.
The rest of it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
That can be useful once in a while.
Constantly. All the time. Let's just scrape this down one more time.
It smells so good.
Yeah, you can really smell that raspberry
That
cheesecake.
raspberry is definitely coming out.
Go ahead and add that in.
All of it?
Yep, right in there. And low speed, we hope. I'm going to scrape this down one more time, and this is the part where we make it red by adding red food coloring. If you don't want to add the red food coloring again, don't even worry about it. It's going to have a pinkish color from the Keto Chow. Just going to make sure we get the stuff mixed in from the bottom there. And let's see, we have a, let's grab a spoon and just measure it. So
You don't want to drown them in red food coloring?
well, yeah, the red, I mean, a real red velvet cake is really red, and it takes a lot of red food coloring to make it that way. So we're just going to start with a teaspoon, and we'll take it from there. So this is red now, but when it bakes, it's going to be less red. So we'll see what we come up with. It really literally takes like a couple tablespoons to really make it deep red. So let's just put one more and I'll mix it and we'll go with what we got.
Looks more like a brownie mix.
Yeah, it's a little heavier than a typical cake batter. Make sure it's mixed in there.
Are we done with this? Yep. I think so. Let's just move it out of the way.
And now we're just going to scoop it into our silicone muffin paper liners. They're not paper, they're silicone, but you know. But the same idea. And then we're going to bake these at 350 for how long?
25 to 30 minutes.
Okay. Alright, so I'm just going to finish filling these up and pop them in the oven. And then we're going to make frosting.
Okay, the rest to come in a few minutes. Okay, we're back and we are making the raspberry cheesecake cream cheese frosting to go with the red velvet cakes. Okay, raspberry red velvet cakes. Even better.
Cakes. Yeah, and we're going to start with our raspberry cheesecake Keto Chow and 6 tablespoons of heavy cream and mix that together to get the Keto Chow dissolved.
A little less powdery.
Yeah. And since you mentioned there might be a little extra, I don't want to overdo it because it looks like a lot. So. Mix that together.
Oh, a spoon. Oh, you're using this.
I'll use
A
this.
spoon would have been nice. What was I thinking?
And this frosting is going to be pink because of the color of the Keto Chow, which is super fun. Okay, and then what's my next ingredient? Is it my
Cream cheese.
4 ounces of cream cheese.
So I'm trying to reach over the bowl.
Yeah. We're going to beat that in and get it light and fluffy, we hope. Frosting. I want to bring the, let me just get the speed down.
Lower speed.
Yeah, so you can probably do half of it and we'll do the other half just to.
Right.
Hit me.
Alright, just wanted to stick to the bottom
Yeah,
of the...
I think it absorbed a little humidity while it's waiting to be prepared. And all these recipes, if I don't say every ingredient during my work here, because I'm busy, all these recipes are available on ketochow.xyz under the resources, right?
It's under the resources. And then once you're in resources, there's recipes. And you can choose to look at them by all of them or by the flavor of Keto Chow product that is used in them. You ready for the butter?
Yeah, let's have some butter.
Have some butter.
More butter.
Okay, we're just scooting over. Sorry.
Let me just give you 1 minute. Oh,
Too late. Sorry.
it's okay. It's still gonna taste just the same.
I'm excited.
We all are.
What happens when you mix a non-chef with a chef? I just throw it all in, right? You're supposed to beat stuff first?
It just gives us a chance to incorporate the butter so it gets to be nice and creamy and fluffy. If we put it all in there together at once, we would just have a much more dense froth. It might be hard to spread.
The tricks of the trade. Hold on, gotta get down. Okay, Miriam, I think I've learned a lesson. Look how fluffy the frosting is.
Yeah, it's really. Okay, so there's our frosting. The nice thing about using the Keto Chow raspberry cheesecake flavor in this frosting, besides that it's pretty and it'll taste good, is that it allows us to cut back in the amount of sweetener we would otherwise need. You know, if you make a traditional buttercream with powdered sugar, you need like pounds of powdered sugar to make a stiff frosting. But because the Keto Chow adds body to this, that with the cream cheese lets us make a pipeable frosting without having to add scads of sweetener, which I really like because I don't like to add all that sweetener, whether it's non-sugar sweetener, sugar, whatever. You know, I like a frosting that has more flavor than just sweet.
It is beautiful frosting.
And we're just gonna wait for our cupcakes to bake and cool, and we'll make cupcakes. We'll frost them.
We'll be back.
We'll be back.
Hi, and now we have already frosted some, and Taffiny is going to show you how simple it is.
So we've got our baked cupcakes, our icing, and we are gonna decorate with a raspberry. And like I mentioned, this icing is pipeable. It's quite firm, actually. We're just gonna put a nice little pipe on top and a raspberry, and there you are.
Ta-da!
Ta-da!